All right, it is Monday, and once again, I am joined by the best way to start a week, Alyssa Farah Griffin. Hello, Alyssa.
Hello, Brian.
Before we get started, I want to tell a story that just happened. So we were on the commercial break, and someone in the audience called out and just said how much they missed you on the show. And then when I was backstage, I saw Whoopi Goldberg pull you aside and say, just so you know, I missed you too, a real lot.
I know that
was
meant
really
so much
sweet
to me. I still have enough postpartum emotions that I'm like, I will cry at the drop of a pin. And both of those, I was like, don't do it. Don't do it.
It was so sweet and sincere.
It means so much to me because I can tell when the woman in the audience that was so kind and Whoopi, I missed her. I the few times I did hear from her and heard from hosts during maternity leave, because I know everyone wants to give me that time. I was like, I miss you guys.
Oh, well, I'm so glad to have you back. And I asked you this morning, was it hard in week 2 without the excitement to go back to work? And you said, no, you're feeling good.
I honestly am feeling really good. And I think that baby Justin's in this adorable phase where, you remember this, every day he's more aware. He's turning his head more. He's responding to what I say to him. When I tell him stories, he's smiling, he's giggling more. It's the most unbelievable thing. And he's staying awake for longer periods, but he's still asleep a lot of the day.
Right.
So what I really try to do is I want to get back before he goes down for his late afternoon nap. And I've mostly been able to do that. And then I can do tomorrow's prep while he's sleeping. So far it's been good and bearable. And I missed being here.
Does it feel like you've been back forever already?
Yeah,
it's 1 week and you're already
It's like
back.
riding a bike. Yeah. I never left.
It feels like that to me too. All right.
Can I tell you one thing? Because our joint assistant, Megan, who we all love, just absolutely chose violence this morning.
Uh-oh. What happened?
So we were talking about summer house drama. And I was like, did you ever watch the show Girls? Because there's some parallels when...
We just had Lena Dunham on.
Yes, we just had Lena Dunham on. But when Adam Driver's character starts dating a friend of Hannah's and it's a whole thing. And she's like, I haven't. I was like, watch it. It's iconic. I think the millennial humor will translate, but you have to watch it. She's like, yeah. And I've heard, for my generation, it's more of a period piece now. Oof. And I was like, it's not the Gilded Age.
Oh my
it
gosh.
was the mid-2000s.
Oh my gosh. A period piece for girls.
Piece. I was like, what is happening?
Well, it's going to happen to her too.
Yes,
it's
exactly.
going to be, Euphoria is going to be a period
Exactly.
piece. And she'll know how we feel.
Exactly.
Remember the old days of White Lotus season 1?
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Well, also think of this. My son is probably going to think I'm so old because I was born in the 1900s.
Yes.
That's just weird.
No, that's actually happened. That will definitely happen. My 11-year-old at one point said to me, Lily, she said, you were alive in the 19s?
Yeah, the late 1900s.
Yeah, that's brutal. Well,
so brutal.
And it's funny because now, and I guess it was the same. When I was a kid, I watched a lot of stuff that was popular in the 70s and even earlier than that. I watched the Brady Bunch and old sitcoms and things like that. And now the coolest thing for my 14-year-old to watch is How I Met Your Mother,
cool.
Friends, The Office,
It comes
stuff
back,
like that.
yeah.
It's fun to watch with them and then very awkward depending on the
Right.
episode.
You forget things in it.
Oh my gosh. It's all...
I also think that kids' content has gotten a little cooler. The classics were always great. The Disney classics, I can't wait to introduce him to. But we started watching Zootopia, not with my son, with my older niece and nephew. And I'm like, this is hilarious.
Oh, it's great.
It's better than I remembered cartoons being when I was a little younger.
And I bet you've missed 10 years of stuff. So when you go
100%,
back,
yeah.
you're going to love that part.
Yes.
I love watching old movies, old shows. And I did the entire Snow White, Cinderella.
Yeah.
We watched all the old stuff, especially with girls.
Yes.
Princess era is a thing. So,
yes.
All right. Getting back to our current period piece that's happening and unfolding every day. You really pointed out today that Trump is historically unpopular. But to your point that you made, which is interesting, because in my mind, it seems like it's a level that it's never been reached before, but other presidents have been more unpopular in their second term. There's all this talk about how the MAGA influencers are leaving him. Is that having an impact? What do you think's happening right now?
So I got a bit of a reality check this weekend, which often happens when you're arguing with your spouse about something. And Justin pointed out to me, he's like, Donald Trump is definitely deeply unpopular. You find more and more people who are having buyer's remorse, but is he actually historically unpopular? And we started digging into the data because I was kind of making the point. I was like, yes, it feels like he's more unpopular. I don't remember reaction to Obama, Bush, any president in my lifetime being as starkly negative as it is right now from a vibes perspective to Trump. And the reality is a lot of modern presidents got into the 20% in their approval ratings, and Donald Trump's hovered in the mid 30s. So in that regard, he's not as unpopular as prior presidents. However, massive however here, and let me make the whole point so people don't think I'm like defending him. We live in a far more polarized environment than in any time in modern history, from our political perspective. For somebody who's a Republican who voted for Trump, it'd be like a Yankees fan suddenly rooting for the Red Sox because their team lost a game. There is something that is
never happen,
deep,
by the way.
tribalistic,
Yes.
and ingrained that was not the way that it was in even like the George Bush era. But the bigger point I was making is his base will likely never leave him. We've gone through the Epstein betrayal that he ran on releasing the Epstein files, and his associates did. And there's still now millions of documents that haven't been released. There's the war in Iran, despite wanting to end endless wars. That betrayal is not enough with his core base. But 37% approval means basically your base is with you and a handful of others. It does mean that you've lost moderate Republicans and independents, and nobody is winning midterms for their party with a 37% approval rating.
Devil's advocate here, though. I mean, like, so you're saying the base will never leave him. Tucker Carlson, who says horrible things, has a massive, massive fan base.
Yeah.
That he now has not, he's turned on Donald Trump completely. Megyn Kelly seems to have turned on Donald Trump. Also has a large fan base. Who are these people voting for?
But the devil is in the details. And this is where Marjorie Taylor Greene stands out to me, juxtaposed to the other MAGA influencers, because Marjorie Taylor Greene is the only one saying, I now oppose this person, you betrayed me. I would be curious to ask her the question, if we have her back on, if you voted again, would you still vote for him? I know she wouldn't vote for a Democrat, but would you write someone in, vote for someone else? Because both Megyn Kelly and Tucker Carlson, despite excoriating him on their podcast, I don't ever opt into their podcast. I chose to listen to both of theirs to get a sense of where they were. Still both said that they would still support him
even
despite
now.
the things they're saying.
Wow.
And Joe Rogan, he's somebody, I'd say he's much more like piece by piece on issues, but I get the sense, despite criticizing Trump on Epstein, on the war, and generally making fun of like how he's been governing the people around him, I get the sense he would probably have voted for him again, but I don't want to speak for him. Joe Rogan's kind of a question mark. So I say all that to say that he is too unpopular to win again, and he's too unpopular for Republicans to pull a rabbit out of a hat in the midterms, but it's not as big of a walkaway as you would think, because we are so tribalistic in our politics. And what does that say about us as a country if there's virtually nothing a politician could do to make their core supporters ever abandon them?
Well, I have to also laugh because we're talking about this, and in my head, I'm thinking, well, yeah, will he win again? He can't win again. He's not running again.
Right.
So that's also baked into that.
Yeah, that's baked in.
So obviously it'll be somebody else running, someone he probably endorses, whether it's his vice president or Rubio or somebody completely out
Don
there.
Jr.
But I guess that also makes the influence of these other MAGA wings interesting.
And that's an important point, because I do think that Donald Trump is a singular figure. I think that he can't be replicated. There'll be many copycats, but cannot be replicated. And I think anyone will have a harder uphill battle running after him than he would have. And what I mean by that is, like, J.D. Vance could try to talk, walk, and do everything like him, but I don't think he has whatever that it factor is that draws people to Donald Trump. Marco Rubio is probably a lot more talented than both of them, but I don't know that people want sort of a more generic, right down the middle Republican who only kind of remade himself into MAGA in recent years.
Oh, it's really interesting. When you were talking before about the vibe check of things, I know you were in the administration in the first term, but did it ever feel like it does now then, as far as his unpopularity?
It did, but that's actually a great question, because it triggers something I thought of in this discussion with my husband. I was with Pence early-ish mid-administration. Then I was at the Department of Defense. I went to work for Trump. That 8-month stretch that I was with him in the West Wing was the height of COVID. I was actually asked to come over on a temporary basis from DOD to try to help with COVID, and ended up staying because a million reasons. That period felt even worse than now because we were in a deadly pandemic.
That's what I
We were
remember,
in a
too.
crisis, and America did not trust the leadership. I
Right.
felt that in the West Wing. I was confident he would lose even by early spring of 2020. I don't think there was a moment where I truly thought he was going to win against Biden. So this is where an X factor that could change. Like if you look at the Bush approval ratings of 22%, that was late in his second term at the height of the Iraq and Afghanistan war, ahead of the financial crisis. Like people felt, and Katrina, people felt like the country was in crisis. Right now, there's a lot of fractured crises. You could point to 20 different ones, but God forbid there be a natural disaster, a pandemic, the things that happen in the course of presidencies. That's what would ultimately sink Donald Trump. People don't trust his leadership in times of crisis.
And one last vibe question. It seems like in the last week or so, people are feeling more confident that the Democrats will take the Senate, that they're feeling confident that it'll happen.
Yeah.
Do you go with that, or do you think that's premature?
I think it's very possible, and I never thought that until the last few weeks. So I think hands down, Democrats will take the House. I think it'll be upwards of 20 seats, if not more, that they'll end up taking. The Senate is harder because keep in mind, Senate seats, not every senator is up. It's a rolling basis.
Right.
There's 6-year terms that they're on. And the makeup of the Senate would favor Republicans, the number of incumbents, open seats, et cetera. But if you look at the political leanings, some of these seats that should be really safe seats are looking tougher for Republicans than they should be. So I think I would still put the odds at Republicans narrowly holding the Senate, but I wouldn't be shocked at all if the Senate narrowly flipped for Democrats.
All right. So it's that time of year now where we all look forward to every year. It's the White House Correspondents Dinner. And it's very interesting this year because for the first time in both of his terms, President Trump is going to be in attendance. Are you surprised he's going?
Yes and no. So I'm not attending. I have a newborn at home and there's nowhere I'd rather be. But
Yes.
He did not want to go anywhere near it his first term. I am not surprised because he's different in the second term. He wants to leave his mark on Washington, D.C. He's putting his name all over it. It's on the Kennedy Center. It's on the Institute of Peace. He's remaking the White House in his image. Like he's in this he wants to institutionalize himself in Washington, D.C. And he does see events like this as there's a certain cachet there, like Obama attended, most modern presidents before him did. So I see it as sort of a continuation of that. Like I'm here and there's nothing you can do about it attitude. He also attended the alfalfa dinner, which is like this big to-do type dinner that I don't believe he had previously attended. So I'm not surprised. I'm sure he and his team will have a pretty heavy hand to the degree that they're able to in the programming around it. But again, this is run by the White House Correspondents Association, so journalists. They're going to be giving out awards to journalists who have, scrutinized Trump, who have covered him, at times in a very unfavorable lens. So it might make for a very interesting night. I mean, and traditionally, too, the president always gets roasted by the speaker. So I'll be curious how that goes.
Yeah. Well, the speaker this time is Oz the Mentalist. View alumni, View guest alumni. Well, I'm sure whatever happens, we'll be talking about it on Monday afterwards. I'll actually be in attendance because ABC News has a table and I'll be going. It'll be interesting to see. I've been several times before, as have you. What do you expect from him? Do you think he's going to be aggressive? Do you think he's going to try to be funny? Do you think, what do you think?
My guess is it'll be the greatest hits and a lot of attacks on the press.
Yeah.
Like he might work in some things to be funny, but unlike prior speakers, I don't think that he's going to be like working with a comedy writer to like take jabs across the board and kind of, hit Republicans and hit Dems. I think it's going to be him rattling off the greatest hits of how well he thinks he's doing, and then like fake news, so-and-so is not covering him right, and that sort of thing.
You think so? So it'll
That's,
just be,
yeah.
It's not going to be a celebration of the First Amendment.
I don't anticipate.
No.
I did. I attended the Gridiron dinner when Ivanka Trump spoke, and she did a more comedic thing. I think she worked with comedy writers and did a more traditional, take some swipes at the left, some at the right. But that's not Trump style. He's gonna go up. He'll probably have prepared remarks, but I think that's the other thing. Buckle up. He might speak for 2 hours.
Well,
have a big bottle of wine
I
at
was
the
going to
table.
say, there's some alcohol.
Yeah.
All right. Speaking of Obama, there was a video circulating this weekend of former President Obama appearing with New York City Mayor Mamdani. What do you make of it?
I saw that, especially because
Wheels
the
on the
wheels on the
bus?
bus is very big in my house right
I
now.
bet. Yeah.
super interesting because I have an early theory. You've heard it here first. I have warned my friends on the right about how they've gone way too far to the right in the Trump era and taken advantage of being in power and been like, we can change every institution to align with our ideology and our values, that will absolutely backfire when a Democrat reclaims the White House and comes into power, and they're going to take things to the far left, and you're going to have set that precedent and have nothing to be able to complain about because you did that, rather than try to meet the country where it largely is, which is in the middle. And there's always this sort of, among Republicans, AOC is the leader of the party. AOC is the leader. He knows what he's doing. He represents the far left of the Democratic Party. And the fact that Obama does not often have audiences with current politicians.
Well, that's what was surprising to me.
That is, to me, he is feeling out where the future talent of the party is and starting to give his blessing. Because Obama is still the most popular figure in Democratic Party politics. They never found the heir apparent to Obama. And I think that there's some real interest around Mamdani.
Wow. And then he's also got a relationship with President Trump, which is fascinating.
Yeah, that's fascinating. I think he played it right, though. His job is to not put a target on his city and to be able to work with the president.
Absolutely. Well, hopefully he'll be back here again at some point. I'd love to keep having him.
And I want to be clear. I do not support Mamdani
at
all.
I'm
speaking to his talents as a politician,
right?
Not agreeing with him on
policy-wise or anything else. Before we go, there was something that caught my eye and I wanted to get your take on. The creator of the gender reveal party. You know what a gender reveal party is. She now says that she's horrified at what parents are doing. I feel like we constantly see these viral videos of gender reveals gone horribly, horribly wrong on social media. I can't get enough of them. What's your take on it?
Okay, I generally agree with her. So somebody who's been engaged, a bride, had kids all in like a recent span of years, I feel like there is this weird, call it corporate pressure to make a big celebration out of everything and then make it Instagram perfect so that you can always show off like how great everything is going. And I believe in celebrating the best moments in life, but I think that this outside pressure of like, okay, you get engaged and you need an engagement party, then you need a bridal shower, then you have a wedding which costs a fortune, then you need an Instagram-worthy honeymoon, then you have a baby and you need some over-the-top baby reveal, then you need a baby shower, then you have a baby and do a sip and see. Like, I love attending all those things. It's a lot to plan, to be part of. It's expensive, and it puts this pressure on people that like, if I didn't do this, am I not like mom enough? Am I not bride enough? So I kind of think it's like, if it's a lot of my friends did gender reveals. They did more understated. Like one friend hit a golf ball and it exploded and showed that. That's fun. If it's something that you're just driven to and pulled to and you do it, 100%. But I don't think women should feel the pressure that this is like a necessity of being a good mom or a good spouse.
See, we didn't consider it because, I had my kid 13, 14 years ago, the first kid. But partly because if it wasn't a girl, my wife would have burst into tears. So I didn't need that kind of pressure. Did you, do you remember, like, was there any kind of big moment when you found out you were having a boy?
We wanted a boy. I felt like it was a boy. And I think I told the story. It became abundantly clear at the 20 week that I was having a boy.
Oh, there we go. Hey now. Yeah.
It was like, we laughed so hard. It was the most perfect shot that I was like, yes, that's a little boy. And that was all the gender reveal we needed.
Way to go, Justin Jr.
Exactly.
All right. On that note, thank you for joining me today, Alyssa. Tomorrow, I'll be back with Joy Behar, and we'll see you then.